A little girl named Lucy, dressed in yellow, was wheeled into the operating room at Seattle Hospital. Intern George, anesthesiologist Taylor, and attending physician Derek were making pre-surgical preparations. Anesthesiologist Taylor finished his prep work first and was the first to enter the OR. Taylor pulled out the breathing mask and placed it over little Lucy's face. At that moment, intern George also entered the operating room and said to Taylor, "I think I smell alcohol on you." Taylor's attitude was incredibly arrogant as he warned George to mind his own business. George had no choice but to stay silent. As an intern, he had no real voice in the operating room, but drinking before surgery was against regulations and showed extreme irresponsibility toward the patient's life. George was genuinely worried about little Lucy's safety, so he had to report the situation to attending physician Derek. Derek didn't take George's concerns seriously either, telling him to know his place and not to randomly suspect a colleague in the OR. Anesthesiologist Taylor overheard their conversation. As a top anesthesiologist, being questioned by a mere intern made him feel humiliated, so Taylor suggested that Derek kick George out. Derek, listening to Taylor's suggestion and feeling that George had violated OR protocols, reluctantly threw George out of the operating room and replaced him with another intern named Yang. The surgery began with attending physician Derek as the lead surgeon and intern Yang as his assistant. Halfway through the procedure, intern Yang suddenly noticed that the patient was starting to wake up and immediately informed attending physician Derek of this emergency. Derek loudly called for anesthesiologist Taylor, but Taylor showed absolutely no response. Intern Yang quickly walked over to Taylor and discovered he was actually asleep. At that moment, Derek remembered what George had said and asked Taylor if he had been drinking before surgery. Taylor, just waking up from his nap, defended himself, saying, "Yes, I had some drinks, but it won't affect my professional work." Derek was furious when he heard this and kicked Taylor out of the operating room. After the surgery, Derek found intern George and apologized to him. Derek told George that thankfully no disaster had occurred that day, or he would have regretted it for the rest of his life.